Hangman Adam Page takes on the Murderhawk monster Lance Archer in a Texas death match. Brutal Texas death match. Let's get into it. What is up? My name is Lloyd, and this is the Middle Card, which are my takes on the world of professional wrestling and all of its ins and outs. So let's go. So in the main event of Dynamite, we had Hangman Adam Page versus the Murderhawk monster Lance Archer in a Texas death match. And if you don't know, a Texas death match is somewhat like a last man standing match. So either you knock out your opponent and they can't get up by the 10 count by a referee, or you can beat them into submission and they can give up. So I really like this match for a lot of reasons, because there were so many little details that went into this match. Okay, first little detail that I really appreciated was Lance Archer's shtick, his gimmick, is that he normally takes somebody from the back, either his opponent or some random guy, and he tosses them out before he makes his entrance into the arena. So what we got here was no entrances. You have Hangman Adam Page actually jumping Lance Archer beforehand, before he could do anything like that in order to get the drop on him. So I really appreciated that. So basically it was more like Hangman was the one now bringing Archer out instead of Archer's normal thing, where he's tossing some poor smaller guy out. So I really liked that detail. The other detail that I really liked was the involvement of I really liked the involvement of Dan Lambert. So at one point they're in the ring, and very early, Hangman hits the buckshot lariat. The buckshot lariat requires a top rope in order to do it. So this was great because Archer gets up after the buckshot. They're fighting into the crowd. They're fighting into the stands, which is important because then Dan Lambert comes down and he unscrews the top rope. And you need the top rope in order to do the buckshot, which is Hangman's finishing move. So when they come back in, Hangman's getting the better of Archer, and he's about to go and he's about to do the buckshot again, and he reaches and you realize that there's no rope. So I found that little detail to be great. What else is there? You have one little spot where Jake, he does his little, he does his clothesline, his short arm clothesline, which is the setup to the DDT. Now Jake Roberts can't do a DDT, but because of his age and because he can't be doing bumps anymore, but he goes like this, which is his signature, calling for the DDT basically. And he's gonna go for it because there's no rules in a Texas death match, and Archer's like, no, we're not doing this. And then Hangman's the one that goes and he hits the DDT on Jake, basically. Sorry, he hits the DDT on Archer. sorry, my bad. But yeah, so it was little things like that, those little details that made this match really cool. Spot where Archer has the fork. Now Hangman's already bleeding. So Archer takes the fork and he starts jabbing it into him. Now you couldn't really see it, and I'm sure his hand was actually covering it and not poking Hangman Adam Page. But then he goes and he starts putting the fork in his mouth and starts eating it, and just the idea of that, just have the people just going, oh, just, I was like, man, that's nasty. What are you doing? But yeah, overall this was a good match. And then you have the ending where Hangman's ready to do the buckshot, but he can't. So the referee's bent over trying to pick up some stuff, and Hangman does the flip to get into the buckshot over the referee and then crashes with Archer into the tables. Hangman gets up, wins the match, count to 10. This was actually really, really good. And then, as I predicted, Adam Cole, he comes on down. I expected him to jump him. Why wouldn't you jump him? Because he's already had this match. There's no way he could defend himself pretty much. So you could go and you could get the drop on him. But I like things like this where I don't see it coming. So Adam Cole comes, he picks up the AEW championship, he puts it over the shoulder of Hangman, and then he just walks away. So we can see basically where this is going, who is making their intentions known. We are a few weeks away, about 3 weeks away from Revolution, so I'm thinking that there's pretty much enough time in order to build that up between Dynamite and Rampage. And then I'm still predicting that Kenny Omega will be back for Revolution. So I'm gonna say that Page is gonna get the victory, Omega's gonna make his way back, and then we're going to get the former Undisputed versus the Elite, and we're gonna get this fantastic storyline which has been brewing for a while now, and I'm all for it. So let's go.